Today, we will be explaining an action comedy, Bad Boys, released in 1995. A group of robbers with their perfectly executed plan steal $100 million worth of mafia heroin from police custody. Marcus Burnett is a cop having a regular morning in his house with his family. His friend and partner Mike Lowry come into his house to have breakfast. They are eating in a chilled environment when a call from their captain asking for them to immediately show up at the station disturbs them. In the station, the captain shows them the empty locker, informing them about the robbery at their station. Captain Sinclair and the internal affairs officer warn them that if this news got out, it will be a great media frenzy. She says that it had to be an insider's job who knew all the secret ways or passages. Their captain gets angry and says that they will find the lost heroin back in 72 hours. He then proceeds to tell Mike and Marcus to make sure to solve the case before the FBI and FAA shuts down their station. He assigns the other two officers, Sanchez and Ruiz, as their backup. Mike goes to his ex-girlfriend Maxie and asks her to keep an eye around and tell him if she found something suspicious, like someone who got newly rich. Mike and Marcus then go to the person who has the contract for air ventilation of the station, but hit a dead end when they found him dead in his house. Max hears from someone about a newly rich person named Eddie Dominguez, who is an ex-cop to looking for young girls. She convinces her friend Julia to go with her, and they both go to Eddie's mansion. But their meeting doesn't go as planned when the gang members whom Eddie helped in stealing the heroin show up and kill Max. They then kill Eddie too, saying that he should know that hookers talk. The leader asks his members to find all the information about Max. Julia manages to escape because she was in the bathroom, and the gang members didn't see her immediately. Cops come to the mansion to investigate the murder. Mike finds that there are 2 shades of lipstick on the glass, indicating that there was another person at the scene. Mike gets very shocked and upset to find Max dead in the mansion. Marcus consoles Mike and assures him that they will find the murderer at any cost. Mike says that he will go find something about Lois Field, but when he gets there, the house is all dark. He instantly gets his gun out and carefully moves forward. He finds his dead body of Lois and gets attacked and knocked out by a gang member, Noah. Man, what a night. Next, Julie calls the station terrified and asks to talk to Mike. Captain says that she can tell him the issue, but she says that it is about murder, so she will only tell Mike. As Mike is not at the station currently, Captain forces Marcus to talk to her as Mike. Julia tells him that she is Max's friend and saw her getting murdered in front of her eyes, and she called Mike because Max says that she trusts him so much. She says that she needs help, so their captain forced Marcus to continue his act and go meet Julie. When he gets there, Julia attacks him, saying that he doesn't look like the Mike that Max had described. He tries to convince her, but when she doesn't believe him, he says that she handled this on her own, and most definitely the gang is now on her heels and will be here soon. That forces her to believe him, and she agrees to tell him about the incident. Marcus says that they have to get out of here, but before they could go anywhere, they get attacked. The gang members, not expecting to face resistance, get surprised when Marcus fires at them, giving Julie and Marcus a chance to escape. In the car, Marcus wants her to take to the station, but she refuses to say that she doesn't want to be in the station, and they can keep her in home custody. Marcus decides to take her to Mike's place because his house is not a very suitable place to host a guest because of his wife and several kids. When they get to Mike's house, it gets him some time and a few stabs by the furniture to find the light switch. He says that he redecorates his house so often that he forgot the switches and the setting of the house. Marcus then says that he has to go back to the station and assures her that everything will be all right. He goes out of the building, asking the receptionist to keep an eye on her and not let Mike go inside without calling him first. To his absolute luck, Marcus gets kicked out of his house at night by his wife. When Mike comes back to the station, an enraged Marcus instantly started asking him questions. He says that he got into a lot of trouble because Mike decided to just disappear from the face of the earth. Mike gets angry too when Marcus tells him that he has a girl with her dogs in his house. Their captain, tired of their continuous banter, shouts at them and says that if they don't find the robbers in 4 days, Sinclair will expose them to the media. They decide that Mike will live in Marcus' house so Marcus can convince Julia and get her to recognize the murderers. Later, Marcus goes to Mike's house and shows some mugshots to Julia. After some time, she finally recognizes Noah, finally giving them a lead. Mike and Marcus go to meet Julie. She says that she wants to go to the club with him, but Marcus refuses and says that he and Mike will go to the club to find Noah, and she has to be safe as she is the key witness. Before entering the club, Marcus warns Mike to not shoot someone. Instead, Mike says it's what Marcus does and he should at least get the information before killing someone. When they go into the club, Noah and his members recognize Marcus and attack him in the bathroom. He manages to knock them out, but the trouble starts again when Julie shows up at the club and tries to fire at a man, saying that he is the one who killed Max. All three of them get out of the club and run from the club in a truck. The gang chases them in a car and fires gunshots at them. They hit a dead end at the road, but Mike throws the oil bins from the truck at the car, which results in the car blowing up. The incident kills Noah. Marcus is angry at Mike because he killed their only lead to heroin. Julie gets upset, saying that they are worried about heroin when they should be searching for Max's murderers. They continue to argue, not realizing that they are being recorded from a helicopter. Later, when Marcus calls his house from Mike's home, he thinks that Mike is sleeping with his wife, so he decided to raid his house at night. He brings Julie with him and cuffs her with the steering wheel. Marcus's house is being watched by the two gang members. Mike sees them and calls for backup. When Marcus reaches his house, he tries to climb in through the window. Mike, thinking that it's a gang member, attacks Marcus and they get into a fight. Their whole ruckus captures the stalker's attention, and that gives the time for other cops to arrest them without them having a chance to kidnap Julie. At the station, they try to torture the members, but unfortunately, they don't know anything about the name Fawcett. Mike and Marcus go to meet their old friend named Jojo, who always gave them information, and asks him about a chemist who can cut the stolen heroin fast. Julie is handcuffed in the car again. After some convincing, Jojo tells them about a genius college boy who can do the job. They go to the address Jojo had told them and wait for the chemist to get out of the house. After waiting for the whole night, he finally gets out of the house. After following him, they reach ashore and see him talking to Fushi on a yacht. Fushi sees them and asks his members to follow them silently. Marcus' wife sees the news on the TV and is very pissed to know that Marcus is still in the city while he told them he is in Cleveland. Anchored, she goes to Mike's apartment to confront her husband. Their covers blow up and Julie knows about their impersonation of each other, which she had already suspected. Julie stormed out of the apartment, while Mike follows her to convince her. In the lobby, they encounter the Fuchsia gang. After the exchange of fires, the gang kidnaps Julie. Mike and Marcus follow them and chase them on the buildings but couldn't save Julie. Fuchsia calls the station and says that he will kill Julie if he can't deliver his order. Captain Sinclair got their department shut down, and they all get reassigned. Fuchsia kills his chemist. Hacking in Eddie's profile, they find that the station's secretary is Eddie's ex-girlfriend and is being blackmailed by the gang as they took her inappropriate photos. Mike and Marcus, with their backup detective Sanchez and Ruse, go to stop Fuchsia from making the deal. The captain calls a lot of backup, including helicopters and all. They reach the airport at the perfect time to stop the deal and get into a fierce battle with the gang. The police almost kill all of the gang members and rescue Julie successfully. Fuchsia tries to run in his plane, but Marcus shoots at it to stop him. Fuchsia escapes in the car, and they shortly escape when the whole warehouse blows up. They follow him in the car. This is a great scene, by the way. Fuchsia crashes, and Mike stops him and shoots him, taking revenge for Max. After the exhausting day, Marcus goes to his wife and leaves Julie with Mike. He is excited to finally be able to go to his family and get his quality time. Dope movie. Go watch it, and the end.